Welcome to another episode of the Five Senses Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Zinni, and today we're here with Cara Foster, the owner of Bowens Botanicals. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
No problem. Thank you for having us in your shop. I see a lot of wonderful and unique items, and I'm really excited to see or hear more about what you have to offer. So you've been around since October 1st when you opened, and I was wondering, what's your mission and vision for your shop?
I would have to say that for me, the most important thing is to really integrate ourselves in the community of Prescott. I love Prescott so much. I grew up here as a kid, and so I really want to help service the community in a bunch of different ways, through the arts, through community building events, and we have special events here ourselves and stuff like that. So that's really the main goal, is to integrate ourselves in the community and be a place where the community can come.
When did you first realize that you wanted to become a florist?
I was about 10 years old, and I would go into the yard. It was here in Prescott. I'd go out into the yard and I would just gather assorted things and arrange them together to have in the house. So I think that's when I really first realized that I liked, well, I used to call it assemblage until I realized that I was designing it with flowers. It was mostly just, I enjoy putting things together. That's always been important to me, and so I was probably about 10 years old.
Okay. And so were flowers some of the first things that you just were able to see out on your property and just like gather them up and make bouquets?
It was mostly greenery is where I started. I come from a little bit of an agricultural background. My father worked in farming for a really long time. So I've always had an interest in the outdoors and plants and flowers and things that grow. I will say, though, that when I was 6 years old, I used to pick our neighbor's hydrangeas.
Okay.
We lived in Hawaii at the time, and I was just obsessed with her hydrangea bushes. And she told me that if I would just stop picking her hydrangeas, that I could have them all when I got married. So I probably had a little bit of an inclination towards flowers even earlier.
So you have art here, but then you also have your arrangements as well. So as a florist, where do you get these inspirations to assemble or arrange these different bouquets or arrangements for your customers?
So I do have, I did do an apprenticeship under a floral designer when I was 18 years old. Previous to that, I also learned the art of ikebana, which is traditional Japanese floral design. So combining some of the more traditional elements of floral design from more of like an American perspective of floral design with the ikebana style, I've come to find that the flowers do what they're going to do, and it's just kind of my job to put it together in a way that almost feels good. Aesthetically, I mean, when you're working with something so beautiful, it's going to always look good, but I do get a sense that sometimes flowers just feel good also. So I try to combine some of those elements of working with what I've already been given and with what I know I can do.
So this has been about 6 months since you opened, and if I'm a customer coming off the street, what can I expect from you?
Some things that I think are different that we do in our shop is, foremost, we do floral design classes.
Okay.
And we do those on a regular basis. We try to have at least 2 a month. And we do private design classes or public design classes that people can sign up for. And it ranges from seasonal floral design to more of a gardening aesthetic. We do dish gardens and succulent gardens and things like that also. So I think that that's pretty unique. Outside of that, some things in my shop that are a little different would be, we have a really limited selection of apothecary, mostly geared towards women's health. That's something that I'm familiar with, being a woman. So we have a little bit of a niche with our apothecary items. And then we do have different little curiosities and oddities on the gift shop side that Prescott really doesn't have. So we have, and since they're curious, I don't want to give too much away from that. But it's definitely, we definitely have a different aesthetic and a different perspective in some of the things that we do here.
Right, I'm looking around and it's a very unique shop, and I like the collective of the different variety of art and
from the art side, it's really important to me to have local stuff. So
Okay.
the art that I have, if it's not Prescott based, it's Arizona based. And it's mostly people that I know, that I've worked with for a long time, who I not only trust their process, but what they're providing, the quality of the product that they provide. So I have a lot of that kind of floating around in here too.
Right. All right, so that's what I can expect from being a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about how you are trying to be active in the community. So what does Bowens Botanicals offer to the community?
I think something that has been really important to me in giving back to the community is providing a space for artists to showcase their work. So we have a relatively large space. The front part of the building is mostly retail space, but the second part of the shop, the other 2/3 part of the shop, is pretty expansive. So we have had art shows in the past, and I love having art in the shop. We do extended art shows where artists can have their work up for a month if they'd like to. We do just for the night art shows. And I try to do different categories, so it's not always just wall art. We do some three-dimensional art. We've had jewelers come in. I've had a blacksmith showcase some of their work here. We sometimes do more of like a craft show feel where people can set up their tables and you can come through and maybe get a little exposure to some local artists that you wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to see. When we do things on this, when our square is really popular in Prescott, a lot of the things that you find at the square aren't Prescott-based artists. They're people that come in from other places. And so I enjoy having an opportunity to provide that space for other artists to come in and show some of their work.
Nice. Local.
Yeah. Local artists,
I like that.
I am working on a partnership with Prescott College. When they need to have an art show, the students come through and they try to find different galleries to do a gallery night to show some of their work. And I'm really trying hard to be a partner with Prescott College to have this space be a permanent fixture in that type of an art gallery for their students to have their big art show.
Right, that would be great because I think Prescott College needs looking for a space because
Yeah.
the Sam Hill warehouse is now the property of the new Holiday Inn.
Yeah,
so that'd be great.
But before the pandemic struck, we had actually planned to have like a Latinx exclusive art show for local Latinx community members to have their art here from Prescott College specifically. So hopefully we'll be able to get back on track with some of that kind of stuff. Outside of just the art, having been a teacher, I also plan on having a yearly fundraiser, which we had organized with United Way, but that also has been postponed until some of this, coronavirus situation gets worked out and we can have some more gathering and events.
Right now, that's the one thing that I think we all have felt since the pandemic is we want to be a part of the community, but with the guidelines and everything else, it's really hard. So we're trying to find creative ways to do that. But I hope that sooner than later for you. So my last question, though, Cara, is what's your inspiration for wanting to give back to a community? Like, what's the importance of giving to our community?
I always say to people that I feel like Prescott takes care of its people, and I feel like Prescott is the kind of place that when you're supposed to be here, you're here. I know that sounds probably like a little cosmic or strange,
I agree
but
with that.
I want to be a part of that positive energy to keep Prescott strong and keep the types of people in Prescott that are doing so many amazing things to benefit our community. And so I've always felt like Prescott's been home to me. I mean, I wasn't born here, but I was raised here, and I've chosen to raise my own children here because I know that this town and this community is so strong and supportive. I just want to do a little part to give some of that back, some of what I've gotten from this place, to give some of that back.
That's beautiful. And finally, where can our viewers find more information about your shop?
So we do have a website. It's bowensbotanicals.com. and that's Bowens, Bowens. And also I have a pretty strong social media presence on Facebook and Instagram. Same, Bowens Botanicals. Try to keep it consistent and simple. Those are the easiest ways to get more information.
Well, thank you for your time. I had a pleasure seeing the beautiful aesthetics in your shop and also getting to know you. And thank you for being a positive community member here in Prescott. For more information, log on to 5ences.mag.com, and don't forget that we're back in print so you can pick up our magazine.